Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Let's Shine a Light in the Dark podcast. This production is brought to you by Let's Organization, which is a non-profit in Zambia, which started off as a domestic violence support and awareness service. However, we are now branching out and we want to raise awareness about lots of different issues in Zambia. Things like mental health, suicide prevention, crisis support, counseling, perpetrator services, raising awareness and opening up support services in Zambia. Because we believe in the power of honest conversations to drive change, on our podcast we cover many different topics. I want you to be able to listen safely. So please, once you hear what this episode is about today, feel free to pause or skip this episode if it's not for you. And our support resources are available in the description. There's a website and contact information should you need it. Thank you. Welcome to today's episode. We are going to be talking about gratitude, and we'll be hearing from two young women from Zambia sharing their thoughts and experiences about gratitude. We touch very briefly on the physiological effects of gratitude and very briefly on the impact of God in gratitude. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Let's podcast. Today, we're joined with Blessings Chanda and Kathy Chisulo, who are both in Lusaka, Zambia. And we welcome both of you wonderful ladies here to talk to us today about gratitude. So welcome on the show. Would you like to say hello?
Hi listeners. Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here. Hi everyone. I'm so happy to be here.
So we're just going to have a conversation about gratitude, what it means to Blessings and Kathy. They're going to talk through some of their experiences and they're going to share some tools that are going to be really helpful for us. So Blessings, do you want to tell us a little bit about gratitude and what it means for you?
Thank you very much. Gratitude to me, in simple terms, is simply a feeling of thankfulness, like being able to marry reflection and gratitude. Because most of the time, I can't mention the word gratitude without reflecting on something. So it's usually in the times where I'm quite stressed, and the only thing that helps me is reflection. So the moment I begin to, think about some of my past events or situation or circumstances, then I look at where I am, seeing that I'm in a better place than I was. I feel very grateful to be where I am at that particular time. And so with me, gratitude is just a feeling of thankfulness.
Thank you. Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. So, what kind of tools have you used before, Blessings, that have been helpful because you said where you were and where you are now? Would you mind sharing a couple of things?
Thank you very much. So I think one of the best tools that has worked for me is prayer. I'm a Christian. I grew up in a Christian home, and that has been the most effective remedy, the most effective tool for me, because I haven't had a time where I look at my past or reflected on a past event and haven't seen God come through, So I feel like that has been the most powerful tool for me. And then the other thing is my circle of friends, the ability to choose the right people to associate with. And so that has really helped me so much.
Thank you very much. Those are both very great tools. Absolutely, I agree. God is amazing. And it's really helpful to be able to see him in difficult spaces and having a support network around us. I think that's really important. In in Zambia, well, when I used to live in Zambia, family was really important. So being connected, but I think I've seen now that more and more you need a lot of friends as well. Like your friendships need to be quite great and supportive because people don't necessarily understand how you're feeling as as generation has changed and has been changing. So thank you for sharing those.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, Kathy, for coming on the show. Please, can you share with everybody about what gratitude means for you and what it looks like for you?
All right, thank you very much for the opportunity. So for me, gratitude is just appreciating the people, the moments, and just the small things that happen to you every day. It's not about having something big, because even this life, you have to appreciate God for it. Even just you drinking water is gratitude. So it's not about having the big stuff that will make you to appreciate and say thank you. So gratitude is just about the small things that you experience in life.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Would you mind sharing a couple of tools that you use and how you actually use gratitude every day in your life?
All right, no problem. Thank you so much once more. Firstly and foremost, whenever I have anything in life, any small thing, even just the life that I have, I appreciate God, because I believe this life is not by luck, but by the grace of God. And not only that, I also try to jot down some notes, some points to just write the small things that have happened in my life each and every day. And not only that, I try to share them with my friends and also my family members, to just tell them of the good things that are happening in my life. Because I believe keeping something to yourself is not a good way, but actually having a conversation and sharing with other people is a good thing to do. Yeah. So those are few things that I do for to appreciate for gratitude. I don't know if
That's fine. No, that's great. Thank you so much, Kathy. Okay, thank you. That's really helpful. And again, both of those are really important skills and tools. So, just going back to blessings, what you said earlier, you said prayer and friendship are two of the things that you use. So, if you're thinking about prayer and also friendship, how do you apply gratitude to those two things? So, if a listener wants to be able to start using these tools for themselves, how would you describe it, or how would you advise them to start doing that?
All right, thank you very much. Very good question. So I think there has to be willingness. Are you in the moment? Do you want to make a shift in a certain situation? Is there a result that you're pursuing or a goal that you're pursuing? So one thing that has really stood out for me is it's easy to maintain a praying life or a praying lifestyle where you're always praying and always thanking God in whatever situation you're in, when you're with the right people. Because when you're with the right people in the right setting, or sharing some similar goals, it becomes very easy. So you won't hang out with people who would think that you using prayer as a tool to just be thankful or to show gratitude is not weird. Okay, so being with the right people has played a very critical role in my life personally, because I have seen how the right people come through whenever you need them in any situation. So the moment you start applying prayer, or even ensuring that you are selective with the type of people that you associate with, it becomes very easy to even just progress in your life. Because the moment you're always showing gratitude and all that, you need to ensure that you're in the right space, the right environment with the right people, so that you're well equipped. Because when you're hanging out with people who don't see the benefit of staying grateful, you you won't feel it's important to do so yourself, because they're going to influence you to think, this is not even, something to sit down and pay attention to. You will eventually collapse. So there is a very good relationship between the two. There's a very good link between the two, prayer and friendship. So the moment you begin to use these tools wisely, you'll find that it's going to be very easy for you to progress at anything in your day-to-day activities.
Thank you. Blessings. That's really helpful. I do agree as well. So I think fellowship's really important. Being able to fellowship with other people in a prayer life can be really important in terms of like growth for yourself. So just to share a little fact about gratitude, just in case for listeners who might be interested in the science behind gratitude. Gratitude stimulates the brain's reward centers. So it releases dopamine and serotonin, and both of those are feel-good neurotransmitters. And it reduces cortisol. And cortisol is the stress hormone, which leads to lots of different things that happen in our body, feeling anxiety, overthinking, sweating, that sort of stuff. So when you're gratituding and you're stimulating the dopamine and serotonin in your brain, it increases calmness, happiness, better stress management. And there's loads of evidence of this, psychological evidence. There's been loads of studies done on as well, so people can research this. I will put some links in the description for the podcast if anyone wanted to research any more. But it's just to encourage you that all the stuff that we're talking about in terms of gratitude is not just us saying it. It's not just us experiencing it, but it physiologically, things are actually moving and changing and happening in your brain. It's not just about you thinking to change. It actually physically is changing. So I just wanted to share that. So Kathy, I wanted to ask you, if somebody wanted to say to you, if somebody came up to you and said, Kathy, I've never given gratitude before, I've never thought of gratitude, or I've never gratituded, however you want to call it, and they said to you, what would be the first step that I should take? What would your advice be to them, please?
All right, thank you very much for that question. So in my response, I would tell them to notice and appreciate the good things in life, because gratitude is not about the big things that we have in life, but just a little thing that happens in your life is actually gratitude. And if someone has that sense of value and sense of believing that even no matter how small something is, it's actually appreciated, then it will be easier for them to notice and say thank you. So the first thing to know is appreciate and notice the small things that happen in your life.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Yes, I completely agree with you. And yes, it is. I think as human beings, we forget, don't we? We forget that we can be grateful for, if you're feeling so crappy and you've just had an argument with your mom, your dad's told you that he's not going to pay for your school fees, and then you're worrying about getting the bus to school. Those things would pile up to the point where you might not even want to get out of bed. You might not even want to bath. And then on top of that, you've got load shedding. So all those things can influence and impact the way that we think. So noticing, like Kathy, you've just said, even just getting out of bed, something that might be so small, having a bath, being able to get a cup of tea, all those things are really important as well. Like you're saying, small things. So I agree. Thank you so much. Blessings, are you happy to share with the listeners some examples of maybe negative situations you've been through and how you've used gratitude to get out of them? One or two.
Yes, more than happy to share. So I've had a really rough experience in my academic journey, and it's funny how I easily get discouraged whenever something goes the wrong way, or something doesn't happen the way I want it to happen. And then the first thing that comes to my mind is I've never been good at this anyway. So there was this one time I applied for a scholarship, wanted to do my bachelor's degree at the University of Zambia, and then we were given the scholarship with some of my friends. But before that, we weren't given the scholarships. They only selected a few people and all of that. So eventually I gave up, and I was trying before that. So seeing that I was not one of the people that was awarded a scholarship, I quit applying everywhere else. Then some time later, not very long from the time they had published the very first list of the people that they awarded the scholarship, I was among the people who was awarded the scholarship. Amazing. On the second list. So since then, I have really shifted my perception about how things can work sometimes. So it's very important that no matter what's going on, you always have to stay thankful. You always have to gratitude. So 4 years down the line, fast forward, I'm a graduate. Actually, I'm graduating in May.
Congratulations!
Yay! This is when Aki unmutes and says, woohoo!
Amazing.
Yes, thank you very much. So, I sometimes, write application letters to various organizations. I visit various companies, and then sometimes I even feel discouraged when they don't get back to me. I'm like, oh yeah, they probably chose the very best, and I'm not one of the best, so they have their own team. And then I remind myself, you know what? That's how it was even before I got into school, my university, to do my program. I had a rough patch at the beginning. So I'm going to stick my head up high, and I'm not going to give up just because one application letter didn't work out. I have to get going. There's always light at the end of the tunnel, and I've seen that happen. So all these things that have been happening in my life have taught me a really great lesson, and that is to stay grateful. Because at the end of the day, it's going to work out. So we just have to keep on exercising and, showing up. And by exercise, I mean using the tools that I mentioned earlier, prayer and friendship, ensuring that we have the right circle, right association, the right people who always know what and when to tell you certain things. So I've had a really good circle of friends that have shown up in many ways. They've encouraged me, and they've taught me the essence of staying grateful, regardless of the situation. It's very important to stay grateful. I've actually encountered that the more grateful you are, the more great things happen, because then you have this positive outlook on life. You're like, even though this happened, I know there's something else for me, so I'm not going to give up now. And so it's really helped me cultivate good results in many areas of my life, and I really appreciate that. And staying grateful is actually, at some point in life, a skill, because it's very hard to stay grateful when things are not working out. But the more you stay grateful, the more you become good at it. So it's about always ensuring that you are exercising this aspect of your life. You always have to stay grateful no matter what, in order for you to have a very positive outlook. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much, Blessings. That's really great examples of, and real examples of what other people, listeners, might experience or might have experienced, or could be even going through themselves right now. So thank you so much for sharing that. Kathy, are you happy to share one example of a difficult time that you've been through specifically, and how you overcame that with gratitude?
Yes, sure. I'm glad to share that. So, okay. So it so happened. I think the time I was starting my university, everything was just going on well until I reached my second year. Things became tough. I had challenges with finances to a point where I felt like I'm not going to go back to school. But I still kept my head high and told myself to say, for me to go to school, God knew that money will be provided. So even when all that was happening, I just told myself to say, something is going to happen. I still kept a positive mind. I used to tell myself to say, whether it likes it or not, it will definitely happen and money will be found. Eventually, money was found. And in that moment of time, I just learned and was grateful to say resilience and being faithful is very important. Not only that, there is another time when I thought things were really bad and I never believed that I would come out of it. I didn't really do well. I failed some courses and I thought it was the end of the world. But I told myself to say, I'm not the first one, I'm not going to be the last one. So I just have to accept it and be grateful because this is a learning lesson. So yeah, I've been grateful from that time, and I always tell myself to say, whatever happens, I should always have a positive mindset. So that's it.
Amazing. And congratulations as well. And thank you so much, Kathy, for sharing. That's, another real example of what people will actually be experiencing and could be experiencing now. So both of you have been so open and honest, which we appreciate on the show. We're really trying to get listeners to see that they're not alone. So thank you both of you for sharing those different stories and how you overcame those things. I just wanted to share a couple of examples of daily comforts that a person might recognize to be grateful for. It could be, as we said before, getting out of bed, being able to have clean water, being able to have a meal, one meal, having a roof over your head, having a family member or a friend that you can contact and call to, having a stranger do something kind for you, or could be things that are quite personal. It could be personal growth, as Kathy and Blessings have both given examples of in their academic careers, in their friendships, and in their prayer life. So recognizing personal growth in those different areas is another really great way to recognize the things that you've done, the changes you've made, and then being grateful that you've been able to do those things, that you've overcome, and how that might look. Just as we were both thought, as everyone's Blessings, Kathy and myself have spoken about the importance of God and prayer to us. A couple of examples in terms of scripture and gratitude would be God's grace, recognizing his goodness, provision, and how he reminds us to be thankful. He reminds us to praise his name in all circumstances. He reminds us to be kind to other people, and recognizing when other people are kind to us. So in terms of, if we're looking at it from that perspective. But I think gratitude is a wonderful way for people to be able to look at their life in a different way, to change their perspective. And I've really enjoyed talking to both of you, Kathy and Blessings. Please listen out for our next podcast with Blessings and Kathy again. And this time we're going to be looking at reflection. So an opportunity for you to come and listen about what reflection might look like, what it means. And we can do a combined thing as well then, can't we? Combining reflection with gratitude and really help you put some things together for your toolkit. Thank you all so much for staying and listening to the show. As always, if you have any questions or you want to get in touch with me or you have comments for Blessings and Kathy, please do get in touch. Thank you.